in the world, and sort of, sort of finding that balance. Yeah, I have asked you this a few times, but it's still.
You're staying at Deepable right?
No, Don Kiem.
Dom Kiem, right? Sorry, Dom Kiem.
Yeah, but Ajahn Mehdi's very, he really likes to be involved in the community life. He's sort of
Yes, he
into that
does. He
stuff, and
eh,
and I've been tagging along most of the time, pretty much any time he asks. But I would say now, because I've been here for almost 3 months, that I'm finding that uh, I'm coming to that feeling again of, oh, this is a lot of community stuff, but I would rather be in my kuti right now. So I've actually asked him to stay in my kuti and go on Bindabat alone, because this is our last couple of weeks of the Panza.
uh-huh.
The Panza ends on the 21st of this month.
Okay, that's
And
good to know. That's
yeah,
October is this month. It's the first day of October, so the 21st.
yeah, about 3 weeks. Yeah, about 3 weeks, and then that's our Panza, Vassa, whatever.
Vassa
And
and Panza are two different Pali words that actually come from two different dialects of Pali. In fact, they're two different languages. That's something that a lot of people don't know is that the Pali is not a language, but the various suttas are in various languages, all grouped as Pali.
I mentioned Vasa to so many Thai people, and it doesn't go in their ear, So I say Panza instead, and they understand, but they're not
Hmm.
Vasa. It's weird. Yeah.
Yes, but Vasa is a Pali word, and it has the same thing. Then, in fact, here's something that you can use as a reference. What is a small body of water normally found on a farm?
Pool,
Pond.
pond. Oh, very small. Okay.
Okay, so there you go for Panza. So the English
Ah,
language word for pond, you can find that it's got its roots in the original Indo-European language. Okay. Now, Vasa, if you change the V to a W, which is common, what does that word give you?
Wasa.
Water.
Okay. All right. It's just pot. I don't know.
Okay. So when it's rain, what comes down is water, and when you get a lot of it, you get a pond. So both of them have water as the base in the language.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's new information for me. Thank you.
Pardon?
Said this is all new for me. Thank you. I never
Well,
heard
I
this
mean,
before.
but you're a linguist. I mean, haven't you studied Indo-European languages? Haven't you taken classes in Greek and Latin?
No, we didn't do that. I don't know if they do that nowadays. In at least in Ireland, we never did that anyway. It was something you
Okay.
have to do outside of school, I think, when I remember back in school. If someone
Or
wanted to
which
do
school you
Latin or
go
Greek,
to? Hmm.
all the rich guys, they do that stuff. We,
I
we in the
wasn't
countryside,
rich.
we
So anyway, back to what we were talking about, and that is the question is actually kind of two questions that you're asking.
well, well,
One of them is, what are you going to do after Vasa
yeah,
or after
that
Panza? What are you going to do after Katan?
that's something I was gonna kind of, bring up at the end of the question about the balance of community sort of involvement, and which is quite big in this community of Suan Mok and Suan Mok International and the retreats and all the ceremonies and all these sort of other monasteries that we go to, and the Dhamma
Well,
talks, etc.
Wat Suan Mok is in fact very much like a diversification, like a university or like a big Wat would be, in the sense that you've got new monks and old monks.
Yeah.
And you're a new monk, but Achan Meti is an old hand. And so he has already gone through a lot of the stuff that you need to go through. And yet he likes to take you and whoever is there. In fact, the question that you're asking, in a way, was phrased to me way back as far as 2016, about 8 years ago, because friends were staying at Dan Kiem, and Achan Meti was taking them to Suratane, taking them to all the little schools and up the road and all over the place, because that's who Achan Meti is. And in fact, by the way, his family is in Suratane.
Yeah.
And so he is actually doing the kind of community service that a senior monk is very good at doing. But he likes to take the company along. He likes to take the student monks for two reasons. And one of them is to show the Westerners off to the Thai people in the communities that he's visiting. And so you're kind of a tool for him when he takes you to those places. Not only that, but he introduces you around and pats you on the head and all of that kind of stuff in front of the Thai, mostly Thai children, Thai school students and whatnot. Is that not correct?
Yeah, the Gucci handbag scenario.
Okay.
we
So
talked about. Yeah,
Ajahn Meti has
I
been
would say
doing this for
it's
years.
mostly correct. But yeah.
And so he's giving you a training now that will be very useful for you in the years to come when you're as a senior monk as he is.
You're not wrong, really. There's good benefit I have gotten out of this, really, honestly. There's fairly good benefit out of it. But there is this sense of I would like alone time.
All right. Well, now here's the plan, Stan. One of the ways that you can look at it is that after 3 weeks, you are then free to go someplace else. And if you want seclusion, we have just the right place for you here on Kopangan, and you already know all about it.
Oh, you talking about what time? Or you're
No, I'm talking actually. We can talk about what Kautum is in the same state, but you also have Tong
oh yes.
Nua
What Tong Nang?
Nang, Waikau Nang. Okay, so Wat Tang Nang. You also have Wat Pasiang Tang. So you've got several possibilities here on the island. You can also move into Wat Suan Mok and perhaps get a cootie way back in the woods someplace, if they haven't all fallen down by the termites eating them.
Yeah, I was sort
Do
of
you know
considering
where
that.
Achan Po's cootie is at Wat Suan Mok?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen him a few
Very,
times.
very close to there is an old wooden kuti that I stayed in when I was first at Wat Suan Mok.
Oh no!
That is
Now he
right
has a
up
new
the hill.
kuti. He
Huh?
has a new kuti up in the middle of Suan, sort of a new building that he stays in now. So maybe it's a different one
Okay,
you're talking
no.
about.
All right, so you know where the dormitory is at Wat Suan Mok. And the old building that has the bell made out of a World War II shell.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and it's got the big tonka of the Paticca Samuppada.
Yeah.
Okay, and so across from there is the original generator electrical building.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know what you
Okay, and they've taken the generator out, but some of the old electrical stuff that was operating with that generator is still in that building. It actually looks like a garage now, and
Aye.
it's kind of unused. Okay, you go to the looking at the building to the right side, and there's going to be a path along the right side of the back of that building, and you follow that path up a ways, and it'll take you first to a concrete kuti, and you turn to the right again, and that will lead you up the hill a bit to Achan Po's original old kuti. All right, you go beyond that and turn again right, and that'll take you up to the kuti that I stayed in, old kutis. Reason that I'm mentioning these is because they're far enough out of the way and yet close enough that there's kind of that in between, and you can have a lot of time there, very close to the dining hall, rather than a 20-minute walk. It's a 5-minute walk. And there's those old kutis, both his old kuti, and there's also up the hill from there an old barn. Actually, I think it was originally a repair shop for old vehicles back in the 1940s, because it's got that well, nowadays they put a car on the lift to raise it up so that they can work underneath it. But in the old days, they would dig a pit, and then the car would roll over the pit. So that building there, these are buildings that I know of that I spent time in that are pretty close to the Wat without going off into the old kuti area. But in any case, you can talk to the guy who has the keys. The office, whoever's running the office nowadays has the keys to all of those kutis. And what I would recommend is you go inspect the kutis and find any of them that have locks on the door, doesn't look like anybody's staying there, pick out which one you want, see if you can figure out what number it is, and then ask for that key for that kuti. You can also stay in the big dormitories that David is staying in. So you have plenty of options 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, for after the Panza, that's something I'm just playing around a bit right now. I'm not concrete on anything, and I haven't even talked to Ajahn Mehdi about the fact that, yeah, I'm really enjoying seclusion, and I don't really want to go to another ceremony. But I'll come if you really want me to come. I'll come, but not every few days, please. But I'll come now and again.
You're talking to him and looking at me. Is that it?
Huh? No. I just sort of in my
Okay,
head.
you're talking to him when you say that you're willing to come,
No,
but
yeah,
not
that's
every.
just what I would say or what I will say
Okay,
probably.
I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, so here is another way of doing it. You
Yeah, that's what I
kind
was gonna
bec
ask. What?
Okay, here's another way to do it. And that is that if you have a time that you know that he's going to be coming, like he comes at about the same time when a day when he does come, and the good thing to do there is to make yourself really scarce. Dom
Yeah,
Kiem is a big place.
I've been doing
Lots
that
of
there.
places out in the wilderness of
I've been doing that.
Dom Kiem.
Yeah.
You can hang out in the sala at the lake and other things like this. Okay, and he'll get the message if he comes to your kuti to take you off someplace and you're not there.
That that's exactly what I've been doing for weeks, and he doesn't seem to get the message. So then I had to ask him after breakfast. I said, Ajahn Mehdi, please, may I practice alone for a few days you know, something and then I went off on just about because one of the monks here, well, the only other monk here, he went into his kuti for about 10 days or 11 days and didn't come out. And I asked, could I practice similarly to that? But he was fasting. And I said, I would like to go and bindabat alone. I don't want to fast alone for 10 days in my kuti. So I said, may I go on bindabat too? And he said, all right, yeah. So when I asked him, he said, okay, but he did not pick up on that message when I was jumping around kutis and never finding me and stuff like that.
All right. So there's other places that you can go and hang out. In fact, I would be interested in what you have to say about it. You know, at Dom Kiem, that there is an area that has hot springs.
Yeah.
All right. And from that area of the hot springs is a path that will go up to the mountain.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
And that mountain actually has some caves in it in an open pit area. That would be a place to hang out. Also, you might in fact discover where the old path is, because there was another path that on the other side of the mountain that takes you down to the concrete road that they've built.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me about this. I completely forgot, and that's a great idea, actually.
Okay.
Because I heard that a while ago.
With that, you can go Pendabat.
Yeah.
Around Dom Kiem, because there's a lot of new buildings around there, and you can go Pendabat there and hang out in the mountain if you want real seclusion. And you don't even have to leave Dom Kiem for that. But what I'm recommending is that find yourself scarce when Ajahn Meti is looking for you.
Yeah.
But that's only 3 weeks from now. After that, you've got even broader choices.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about too much. I was more sort of trying to figure out within myself what is the real sense of, for me, the balance between getting involved in the whole, you know, community stuff, or just sort of, you know, I wouldn't call them projects exactly, but for example, OSF project, but I have some things I do myself, and some communities. I do like that, but sometimes I find myself too mixed up in it, too meshed up with the people, you know, and all their blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I just want to come in and go out, but I stay too long and I'm like, oh, you know, I need to go back out. But, you know,
okay. Well, now that you're knowing that, you need to figure out when being around people too much, and then you can take a hike. Let's say that Ajahn Meti takes you someplace, and in the middle of it, you can walk out and just take a walk.
Sometimes I feel like you know, how many times I've been thinking about just doing that, but in the back of my head, is this not like something offensive, or is this something that do they take it personally? Because I remember I did that one time, and it seemed to be leave a really bad message. You know, I just got that sense right after I did that. Got this sort of immediate change in our relationship, like I was sort of more on the outside at that point.
But isn't that what you're asking?
No, I'm just saying,
you're wanting to
well,
be kind of on the
outside
of all of these activities that Ajahn Meti is taking you on?
No, I meant like the act of just walking out, or the act of just all right, peace, and then just leaving. Is that something that the Thai people, or maybe I would say, like, is that acceptable or up for admonishment in this sort of places, you know?
Has Ajahn Meti actually admonished you? I don't think so. He's not that kind of guy.
He does it in a weird way. Like, for example, one time he asked me, okay, so after the meditations in the evening, sometimes we listen to Buddhadasa talks.
Uh-huh.
and he asked me to play the Buddhadasa thing, and then he asked me, "Do you want to stay here?" And I said, "No, I'm going to go to my kuti now." He said, and then he said, "No, you're going to stay here with the community." And that was very shortly after I did do my own thing. Oh, it just came to my mind. I wanted to just mention one thing, but I just after the end of that point is like, oh, yeah, like that that act of just basically doing my own thing. Up until that point, I was always involved with everything. I was always saying, yes, okay, yes, I'm gonna go. Just do it, just try it, no problem. And I was in that attitude. And then suddenly I was like, all right, I'm just gonna come back into myself a bit and just come back into my kind of way or whatever you want to say. And then quickly after that, their attitude and relationship changed like that. It was like, no, you're going to stay in the community. And not exactly admonishment, but sort of pointing to admonishment, I would say, like a little bit.
Well, it depends. Okay, so what he
Maybe it's just
said,
my perception, though. I
it's
could be
up
full
to
of shit. I don't
you.
know.
You can take it as an admonishment or not, because he
Yeah,
was sort of in between, and you took it as an admonishment.
a bit, yeah. A bit. Yeah. Perceptions are tricky. I just don't know sometimes.
Yes, I know that's what you're saying. And so the easy way to handle that is to not be around when he comes looking for you.
Yeah.
And remember, you've still got only 3 weeks for Vassa or Panza to finish.
Yeah. And I would probably 100% stay here if the other monk was not leaving, but he is also going to leave. My monk, we're pretty good friends now. Like, we're the same age, and he speaks good English from Bangkok, a Thai monk from Bangkok,
Okay.
and we're pretty good friends. And he's leaving, and then
Where's he going to go?
oh, I don't know. He just sort of wants to keep exploring himself. I
Why
think
don't
he's
you
actually going
ask him to go along?
to.
Hi, Dewey.
I never even thought about that, to be honest with you. I do need to give that a bit of thought, that those things. I have like a strong intuitive feeling what to do, and then I have my sort of what you should do. You know,
You've heard me talk
what's the
about
monk
that
thing? What?
before, huh?
Yeah,
The distinction between what you want to do and what you should do. And now you're
yeah,
using Achan Meti as an excuse for what you should do.
yeah,
You're putting parental posturing on him that may not necessarily be there.
yeah. I've noticed this. I've noticed that
He's
too.
not your daddy.
Yeah, it just automatically projects whenever there's an authority figure around. It's very strange. I have to really be careful with that sort of thing. I do that a lot still, yeah. And it's tricky to get out of that, actually, even though I'm super
No, it
aware of
takes
it.
mindfulness. It's not trickiness.
Yeah, true.
Is to
It's
pay
just that,
attention when you're putting him in a position that he doesn't belong in because of your habits.
yeah. And it's totally just within me. He's not really like that at all. He's just sort of a quiet guy who does his own thing. And then, yeah.
So he's well skilled at being a quiet guy doing his own thing. Learn that for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a few things I need to little bit reflect on here. And one thing that came into my mind that I did want to talk to you about is the whole individual. So like my I really do notice my Western conditioning a lot, and I do notice myself slipping into it a lot too. And I I'm surprised at how firm it is sometimes. The individual, I'm doing things my way. I really find it hard to be in mesh myself into the the actual environment experience, like the people around me. And how do you, I remember you phrased it one time. You talked about fitting in, basically fitting in with the Thai people, basically something on along those lines. But
Yes.
you didn't
This is
phrase it in
one
a way.
thing that I have seen that very, very few Westerners are actually capable of doing, and sometimes it takes a long time. One of the few people that I know that has been able to fit into the Thai community very well is Ajahn Sumedho.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but I do not know of many others. Santikaro, for instance, he never quite fit in at Wat Suan Mok, but he did manage to gather up a good community of Thai people when he was in Bangkok. But it does take some time to begin to see Thai people as Thai people, not weird Westerners. That
Okay.
Thailand is a different world.
Yeah, yeah.
And things are different here. And it takes some observation to see what things are like.
I can't really sense why it's so difficult sometimes to get to fall into their structure. It's like the structure I have is quite like a wall, and there's no
Well, let
wall.
us
Like
say that it's a very, very well developed habit. And you can think of that wall, or you can actually think about it in the sense of a well-worn path.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes you have to get off of your old path, your old way of doing things. And also, here's the point that, in fact, I think in some ways that you don't have so much trouble with it, because in the West, the Western system is very hierarchical in the sense that you've got to climb, you've got to make a name for yourself, you've got to work at it and grow and change and all of this kind of stuff, to where the whole system of the Thai mentality is learn your station and learn to fit in, that you're in a network,
Yeah.
not a hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's the easy way to start to see. And this is in a way of what Ajahn Meti is training you for, is training you to fit in and become Thai. And in a way, you're kind of resisting that rather than just going along with it.
I was going along with it, but it's like it's very it brings up a lot of stuff, and I feel like I need a little bit break sometimes from that constant
Well, a little bit
getting.
of a break, okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have a little
little
you
bit.
have a little bit of a break every day.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I have no schedule or no job or anything like that. Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah, true. There's a for me there's like a different like quality of break when I have this experience I have right now where I have no. Oh yeah, like I can just sit in my kuti for a few days. And it's like a relief in the mind that's definitely different than the general um experience of the day-to-day life of the monastery. It's a different, yeah, different quality of sort of taking a break. It's like my mind really, it's very blissful is what I'm saying, and it's very nice to recharge, or I don't know, not recharge, but it's a
Okay.
deeper recharge, you know. I really was like
Can
feel
you
like.
get here's then the interesting question. Can you get yourself into that retired state, that easy state, and still go along with Hachan Meti and maintain that place of quietude, even though you're riding in the car and even though that he's put you around Thai people? You're not
that
able to
is
do that
my
yet.
that is my number one, like, I wouldn't call it a goal, but that is always in my you know, my
Well, he's giving
awareness.
you an opportunity to practice that now, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. It
It's
sort of
just to
reminds
sit
me.
there and hang out. Achan Po used to do that to me, by the way. You wouldn't believe how many places he's taken me. And my only job was to do nothing.
Yeah.
It's just to be there with the other monks when you're with monks, or be with the lay people when you're the lay people, and do nothing. Just sit quietly. Don't expect, don't want it to be over. Find that solitude in your kuti, and then go with Achan Meti in that solitude. This is a
Yeah, yeah,
very important thing that I'm talking about now.
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
you
I
go
know.
into seclusion and get your solitude, and then bring that solitude out with you when you go out with him.
In many ways, I think I get a little attached to how sweet this solitude is. I mean, it's really sweet to do everything like what I'm doing now. Like I just walk out in the morning. I'm in the bat alone. I get all my food for myself, and then I come back here, and it's just it's really nice. And then yeah,
Okay,
maybe
so
it's a little bit
continue with
attachment.
that. And when you get roped into going with him,
Yeah.
then maintain that solitude instead of saying, oh no, I've got to go with him and I can't have any solitude now.
I know that's another unwholesome thought. I have seen this whole game more and more and more and more. You know the where the dukkha is really coming from, but yeah, yeah, it's just seeing that more and more and more. I suppose. Mm.
And like I said, when I was out with Achan Po, I really didn't have anything to do. Now, there was a couple of times when, yes, I did have to help an elderly monk come down the mountain. But that was, that was the reason that we had gone to that monk, was because he needed to be taken care of by other monks. But that was a marvelous relationship. His name was Achan Lee, and he was a marvelous character, and I learned a lot from him, mainly because he spoke English. But he became friends with me because I helped him. But I helped him because Achan Po asked me to go with him and help this monk. But other than that, every time that I ever went out with Achan Po, it was kind of a training, in the sense of, can you just do nothing while I'm doing my business? But I've got a great big package that I'm carrying around called Dhammarato, and it's a whole lot easier to deal with when it's not squirming.
If I'm being honest, I have been squirming a lot, so maybe I do need to keep reminding myself to cool off, even when I'm just keep practicing in these places. But there's always that ideal I have of what you're saying, and I'll bring it in, and then it starts to play out in real life, and I'm like,
But
I'm
you
like,
have to remember to not squirm.
yeah,
You have
yeah,
to remember, hey, I don't really, Achan Meti has got me to teach me a lesson to stop squirming, even when he's taking me around.
yeah.
And so thank him for that. Thank him for taking you, and you don't have to have your solitude. Once you start to practice your solitude, you don't have to take the solitude into the kuti and keep it there. You can start taking that solitude wherever you go. That eventually you'll learn to take your solitude even to a funeral.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. I've been a bit ungrateful, but I can definitely recognize the help and so on. Uh, yeah, yeah. Sometimes like he sometimes I'm like I really don't want help and I'm a little bit ungrateful and stuff like that. but it's been very helpful. But I guess it's my habit of resisting, my habit of resisting probably the other people's way of doing things. I just don't want to do it. Just
Yeah,
let
so you've got that Western mountain to climb. If you got to get that solitude, and Achan Mehdi is teaching you, just fit in and cool off. Just there's nothing to do. So you're with the other people. Yeah, they're chattering, but you're not chattering. You can put down that squirming that you've got. By remembering that, hey, he's taking me out to teach me to stop squirming. Stop being dissatisfied that he's taking you out and just go along with it and just chill.
I know everything you're saying is true.
We've gone through
And
that before.
it more or less, it more or less always has been. But I guess it's always the skill issue and so on. But it is what it is. I mean, it's just
Well, he's giving you the opportunity to develop that skill now, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
All you have to do is remember to practice to stop squirming.
It's also weird. Sometimes just a weird and I remember a few weeks ago you asked everybody, "What's your favorite unwholesome? What is your favorite unwholesome thought?" Something like that. You asked everybody, and yeah, there is a certain pleasure. I wouldn't call it pleasure, but there's a certain enjoyment, like
Yes,
a
okay, I
juice
got you. I know what you're talking about.
out of doing everything my way. Like
that's the Western mentality. Americans have got a whole lot worse case of it than you do. They have even a piece of paper they call the Declaration of Independence, to where the Irish have been trying to undersquirm the rule of the monarchy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Aye. It's the enjoyment of rebellion or something like that.
Exactly. It's
That's the feeling.
delicious. Rebellion is delicious.
Yeah.
And it's
But
dangerous. Can
it's
you
hot.
learn to not? It's hot. Exactly. That's part of
It's
the danger.
dukkha. I know it's dukkha. It's goddamn dukkha. It's goddamn dukkha. I know it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So now that you've identified that it is delicious to rebel, and that's what you've been practicing, and that's in fact the squirming, is rebelling against having really to do nothing, but doing it in the environment that he's created rather than in the seclusion of your kuti. And by the way, if you spend enough time in your kuti, you'll rebel against that too.
I think that's been always the case in many ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think this has been a pretty productive talk for you.
Yeah, I feel like I got a lot of value out of this. I really appreciate this call, actually. Yeah. Appreciate this. I'll see. Yeah, I mean, Panza Vassa is ending in 3 weeks. So I'll see what
There's
happens.
a song, "What You Gonna Do When Vassa Ends for You," but I think that they're talking about something else. What you gonna do when Vassa ends for you? And the answer to that is, right now I'm learning how to chill. Right now I'm learning how to not squirm. Right now I'm learning to not rebel. And when I get not rebelling and not squirming down pretty good, it doesn't matter where you go for Vassa. And like I said, you've got huge number of options. I've got at least 3 options here on this island. You've got lots of options at Wat Suanok, and you can stay right there at Dam Kiem under the tutelage and training of Achan Meti. And you can go follow that other monk when he leaves. Look at how many options you've got. Stay, go, stay.
I know that's this. I had this trouble since I was a kid. I go to like a candy shop and I could be there for an hour or two. I just can't make up my mind. There's so many good options. I mean, as a monk, it's sweet. I mean, it's everywhere. I could just walk anywhere, go anywhere I want. But this situation is pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like how the day-to-day life is very, very nice. But everywhere, I pretty much say it out everywhere I go now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, I haven't really thought too much about. Was more in getting my feeling on the involvement in people and then coming back into myself. And you know what actually sparked me to ask you that was I listened to Bishop. I don't know if you know who this is, but Bishop Fulton Sheen.
Yes. Old dude.
Yes,
Old dude. Long time ago, yes.
I think he was actually born in the 19th century, 1895. He was born in 1895, so it is a long time ago. And I was listening to one of his sort of, I don't know, talks, sermons, and about the
He used to be on television in America.
Yeah.
He's from somewhere in the Midwest, Missouri or something like that.
I think so. I don't know about that, but he was talking about the direction of religion is going away from the community into the individual. So now, I mean, in the Christian context or Catholics or whatever, that it was everybody gathered together for.
Yes, exactly. That's what the church means, is the community gathered together. And in fact, you could use, in the correct sense of the word church, is another word for the word Sangha.
Yes.
The community.
Yes, and yeah. Sangha, the
Seclusion and Sangha, seclusion and Sangha.
Yes, and this is what I was sort of getting in myself is he was talking about the movement of that community is now he noticed now with the next generation it was going into the individual, that everything was becoming about the individual, and he saw many. He asked a question to the people. He said something about what is it for you, or what is it for man's inner need for his transcendence, and then against the involvement in the community, where's the balance for man's inner need for his own transcendence, and where is the balance for his need with the community? How do you balance that pendulum? How do you keep it smooth without always being in community, always too caught up in all that?
So that question, though, is not a philosophical question, and it's not a one-time shot. That question is the question that you need to ask yourself moment by moment when you're with Achan Meti out there stumping for the Dhamma the way he does. Can you find your seclusion, and can you find your Sangha there rather than rebellion there?
Yeah.
Or squirming there.
Yeah. Yeah, it would just be sort of I guess it would be like just a view if I came up with a how it should be rather than the noble viewing of what's actually happening in that case. But I mean, I don't know, for some reason I felt like I need a little, I needed some guidance on that.
Well,
Because
you've just gotten
quite
it. Now
deep.
you can do your own guidance. You can
Yeah,
remember Fulton Sheen in that question. And then when you get restless and you get rebellious and you start to squirm when Ajahn Meti's got you out and you start longing for, I want to be back in the kuti, I want into seclusion, recognize
yeah,
that you can bring that seclusion right in there, right then and there.
yeah,
And also, once you gain that seclusion again, which might not take you more than a breath or two, and then you can go back into Sangha with whatever he's doing in Sangha there with whatever group he's got.
oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Well, something else came to mind, but I don't think I'll hop into it too far.
All right, well, why don't we
Yeah,
finish this and we'll let you hop into that question a little bit later.
yeah.
All right,
Or
so
maybe I'll
this
just
is
forget
where you
about
find the balance. Is the balance is not in the activity that you're doing, the balance is within your mind.
it. Yeah.
Can you balance between Sangha and seclusion, depending upon the circumstances, without
Yeah.
rebelling against one and then the other?
Yeah. God, it's such a habit. I love it. I have to be honest. I don't know why. I just love it, but I need to see the danger in it more and more. Or I can see the danger in rebellion. It's so part of my identity. I don't know.
You're a good
Okay.
friend, Kat. I really enjoy talking with you.
Thank you, Dhammarato. I really appreciate the advice and whatever.
All right, well, we'll see you later.
All right. See you. Bye bye.